If you've been working out and eating healthy and you're still not losing weight, these 5 things may be holding you back. Number 1 on our list of 5 is going to be intuitive eating. Intuitive eating is an idea where you eat till you're full and you manage your calories through the day intuitively. With intuitive eating, the difficulty is knowing whether or not you are sustaining a calorie deficit. So if you are someone who is utilizing intuitive eating and the scale weight is not changing, it may be because you are overestimating the foods that you're consuming. If you overestimate the foods that you're eating and you do that frequently through the day, that could even carry you into a slight surplus. So it's important to note that if you're not tracking and you're utilizing an intuitive eating structure, you gotta make sure you have the experience necessary to maintain the calorie deficit over an extended time. To give you an example, I've been tracking my nutrition for the last 3-ish years. If you were to have me estimate my calories in a day, I could be pretty close, but I have no idea if I'd be under 100 or over 100 or even more than that. That is going to put you at a disadvantage during a fat loss phase. So make sure you utilize some kind of scale or utilize some kind of system that allows you to know exactly what is in the food that you're consuming. Number 2 on our list of 5 is you might be bad at math. If your goal is to sustain a calorie deficit, you have to make sure that the energy intake is lower than the energy output. So if you have been tracking over the course of, let's say, the last 2 to 4 weeks, tracking calories, tracking weight on the scale, and nothing's changing, it could be because you miscalculated the total calories needed for your fat loss phase. If this is you, don't change it drastically. What I want you to do is reduce it by anywhere from 100 to 200 calories, track it for additional few weeks, and see if that helps with the change of the scale. If it doesn't, take the same steps and go ahead and do that again. There are 2 outcomes of this. 1, you'll notice that you'll slowly fulfill the deficit environment you're looking for, or 2, you'll find that you might be doing something wrong with the actual tracking itself. Number 3 on this list, and maybe one of the most important ones, is tracking hidden calories. We're gonna cover 3 examples of this just so you have an idea of what that looks like. 1, olive oil or butter. Those are 2 things that we often use when we're cooking that are left out of our total calorie intake in a day. If you have multiple meals with a tablespoon to 2 tablespoons of some kind of healthy fat, it is not unlikely that it is pulling you out of your deficit. Number 2 under our number 5. When eating out, you're miscalculating the amount of calories that's in the food that you consume. I usually recommend eating out at a minimum just to make sure that you can stay close with your calculations. But when you do eat out, even if you're getting something like steak or salmon or chicken, what you'll often find is there is additional butter to make it taste good. They're not gonna sell it to you unless it tastes good, so keep that in mind. Number 3 on the list is sauces. This is a huge one. If you're someone who loves sauces, honey mustard, Polynesian, whatever it may be, you have to know that they are pretty high in calories. If you're having 100 to 200 calories worth of sauces with each meal and it's untracked, that can pull you out of your deficit. So don't forget to make sure you're tracking your hidden calories. Number 4, and this is one that I'm often guilty of, is snacking during the day. It's very easy to munch on a thing here and there and have just a little bit. That little bit though can turn into a lot. Keep in mind that something like a single Oreo is 70 calories. If your deficit is 500 calories and you have, let's say, 4 Oreos in a day, that's 280 calories worth of Oreo. The 280 calories worth of Oreos may take you out of your deficit environment almost completely if your deficit is 500 calories. My biggest recommendation, if you want to have snacks for the day, just make sure they're logged. And oftentimes what I like to do is pre-log those things so I can ensure that I stay in a deficit. And number 5 on this list is being strict Monday through Friday, and when Saturday and Sunday come along, blowing it out of the water. This is something that happens far too often. Let's talk about what that can look like. Let's say, to give you an easy framework of total calories, let's say you have 1,000 calories a day, and to sustain your deficit, you reduce it by 500 to lose roughly a pound a week. And let's say you kill it Monday through Friday, so you maintain that deficit through those 5 days. That's around 2,500 calories that you have now reduced from your total calorie intake, allowing you to sustain a deficit. Now, here's where the trouble sets in. On Saturday and Sunday, you go out to eat with friends, you go out for a drink, you go to the club, whatever it may be, you go do something that is outside the realm of what your usual nutrition is. Usually what will occur is, let's say that deficit of 2,500 calories is sustained. We get to Saturday, Sunday, we go out and do activities above our total 1,000 calorie allotment. Let's say that's by over 1,000 calories. You're looking at 2 days of a surplus of 1,000 calories, coming up to 2,000 total calories. What that will create is an environment where your deficit is only 500 calories. For fat loss, it is a minimum requirement of 3,500 calories to lose a pound of fat. So that is going to negate majority of your deficit. Are you still on one? Sure. But is it going to allow you to sustain one at a pace that you're comfortable with? 100% no. And I'm gonna give you a 6th one because I think this one is extremely important to note as well. It may be a lack of patience. Recomposition is something that takes a long time. If you are someone on a fat loss journey or you're trying to see the scale change to any degree, what you have to realize is that even if you're consistent for 2 to 4 weeks, you may not see the scale change. That can be due to water retention, lack of sleep, high stress, the list goes on. In conclusion, if you don't think you're losing body fat, there's a number of reasons why. Keep in mind these 5 tips and I promise you'll reach your fat loss goals.